just me walking the trail and sharing with you what I've learned in 2025 and also what I am thankful for in 2025. So 2025 has not been good health-wise for people that are in my circle. People who are close to me, people who are acquaintances, casual friends. You can see with the background, I am not in my own garden today, just taking a nice walk and sharing with you all about 2025, what I'm thankful for and what I have learned this year. So these are the things that I am thankful for. They are in no particular order. Sorry, I have to pause sometimes because there are people walking around enjoying their day too, so I don't want to invade their privacy. First, what I'm thankful for is another year of being able to garden. As you know, I have a bad lower back, and it's getting worse. Not sure what will become, but I need to make it my priority to maintain it. I know that it's probably hard to heal. Anyway, so with that being said, the next thing that I am grateful for is that I have my husband and son to help me with lifting heavy things. I know they're not into gardening, but they know that I like to garden, so they have always been supportive in helping me whenever I ask for their help, which I don't like to ask because I know this is my hobby, this is my thing, but you know, you get to a point where you can't lift things and it's okay to ask for help. Sorry, I'm getting teary here. Maybe because I'm thinking about those around me who do have it worse, and way worse. The people that I mentioned, so I can't be complaining because I'm still able to walk. I'm still able to garden to a certain extent. So I'm thankful that I still have my health. I'm still able to still do a lot of things. Intermission time. It is quite warm. We had Christmas in the 60s with some fog early in the morning. Today is the 27th and it is sunny and I'm in my sun hat. So I believe this is the third one. The third thing that I'm grateful for is for having the courage to continue to make content, even though my views have dropped. So the fourth reason that I am thankful for this year is for all of you who have taken the time to visit my channel, to watch the content, to like, to take the time to comment, if I didn't mention that. So I have a very small community of people watching my content, so I really, really appreciate that. you have made me, want to continue to make content. And I don't have viral videos, not even one. So I really appreciate every view, every like, and every comment. I just met a nice lady with her dog. She has beautiful hair, and she commented on my own hair as well. Those were the 4 things that I am thankful for. There are other ones too, but those are the highlighted ones. So we're at the rocks right now. I feel such connection to rocks. Let's go back and touch a bit on not having views and all that. So I believe that most of it has to do with the fact that I'm not able to communicate well on camera. I had no idea how introverted I am until making videos and being in front of the camera. So being an introvert means that you are active on the inside. That's where you shine. But expressing how you feel, what you're thinking out loud is a different story. And I have another difficulty too, which makes talking harder, not just being an introvert, but just being able to formulate sentences, all of that, to have them make sense, especially when it's under an environment where I don't like, where I'm not used to. And also because growing up, I was used to being the observer. I did a lot of observing, not really talking. I could probably go for a long time without talking, but I would do a lot of observing and watching others. So I probably have walked more in my lifetime than I have done talking, actually. Words don't come out, and it makes me seem like I don't know what I'm talking about, when in fact I'm trying to come up with the words to express what I am trying to say. Not good with, vocabulary, so that's always been hard. And looking into the camera is hard too, so sometimes, or maybe a lot of times, you'll see me look away just to be able to think a lot better. So I apologize if it seems like I'm looking everywhere. It's because it's easier to not look into the camera, and it's easier to just look away so I could collect my thought. Sorry about the long explanation. It's funny that the more I know about gardening, the more I feel like I don't know. I think it's because when we know more, we tend to pay more attention to details, so it feels like we still don't know a lot. And that goes with anything, any profession that you're in my opinion, of course. I've learned a lot of things this year, but we will keep it to several. The most important, the ones that stand out. Number 1, I learned that I appreciate a clean, simple garden. I'm at a puddle here trying to figure out how I'm going to go through that without getting my boots wet. Not wet, but just dirty. See, case in point. Not able to express what I was trying to say. So do not want to get dirt, soil, on the sole. All right, we're gonna go up on top. Made it. So let me clarify what I mean by that. I just like the simple, clean look to the garden. So this year, I have been cutting things back, you know, each season, cutting the plants that, you know, like were a distraction. And so that way, the plants that are still beautiful, that are in season, they could stand out, and they have, so that they have their moment to shine. So by doing that, I realized that each season the garden is still beautiful. And the plants that are out of season still have nice structural interest, with seed pods, things like that. Those remain, and of course they still look beautiful even though they are out of season. We're gonna have to go back and jump over that section. And I decluttered some areas, and I have to say that it was very satisfying to be able to declutter containers, plants, just making them look more organized, more simple. When you do that, they become, the plants, the space become neater, more with intention, rather than them being just kind of scattered all around with no direction, no purpose. Part of the reason why I like decluttering more now is because the garden is more mature. I know that when we are starting out, we don't have plants, a lot of plants to play around with. So everything becomes important, like a stepping stone, gravel, things like that. So they are more important, and they need to be there. They have relevance. But when the garden becomes mature, you'll see that you'll be able to take out things, and you might not even notice those things that are taken out. And the garden just looks more simple, yet still beautiful. You have cleaner lines. At least that's what I think. The next thing I learned is that it was not scary at all to grow okra. I'm gonna try to look at the camera more. Not scary at all to grow okra. I had so much fun growing the one that I had fun cooking with it. So guess what? Next year I will be growing more okra. So if you have been kind of nervous about growing okra, or you have never grown okra, I highly recommend it. I would like to grow more, so we could freeze some to be used during the winter, and I might even learn how to pickle some of them because I love pickled okra. The next thing I learned is that the Dalia motto was a standout in the garden. It was a stunner in the summer until the first frost. It is a tall variety, can grow to, I believe, 5 feet. And what made it a standout also was the fact that there was other plants around to support it. So there was a Japanese maple on one side and an abelia on the other side. Now, the abelia wasn't that tall, but it still gave it some support. And I know that next year the Japanese maple is going to get bigger, so it's going to provide the dahlia with more support. The next thing that I learned, and I think that is number 4, is that if you live in a colder zone where your basil is an annual, just know that basil can be grown as an ornamental, and it can look so beautiful with the bloom heads and then after the seed heads. I grew several basil this year or basil plants, and I really loved them as an ornamental. So that is something that I would recommend. If you love basil anyway as an edible, why not grow some of them as an ornamental to help attract pollinators as well. If you live in a warmer zone, maybe growing basil as an ornamental may not be a wise decision because you might end up getting a lot of seeds dropping to the ground. It can be everywhere. It might be harder to pull out. It can get weedy. I think that's what I was trying to say. Yes, it can become a weed for you. All right, number 5. The 5th thing that I learned is that when growing ginger or even taro, the nighttime temps are actually more important than the daytime temps, which I did not know that until this year. Anyway, that goes to show that even though you've been gardening for me, 5 to 6 years, sometimes you just miss certain things. And I don't grow a lot of edibles, so when you grow edibles, or if you're an edible gardener, temperatures are important, especially when you're growing things from seeds and all that. So yes, I learned this year that for ginger to start growing, the nighttime temperatures have to be at least 60 degrees. I lost a lot of ginger this year because of not knowing that fact. I will still continue to start ginger indoors, but will not transfer them outside until the temps are at least 60 degrees. Same with taro. We're going to go up all that way. So if you live in the south and you would like to grow ginger, just know that we can grow ginger. However, you'll have to put them in the ground or put them in the container. I grow mine in containers when the ground is at least 60 degrees. Otherwise, you can still start planting them, but you won't see anything, you won't see leaves coming up until the ground temperature is at least 60 degrees. I'm pretty sure like maybe 50 something, 55 or something, you'll still get leaves start to form, but they're not gonna grow as fast. And speaking of fast, I'm having a hard time. I'm afraid I'm gonna fall down here while filming at the same time. Yeah, so also speaking of fast, what was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Just know that in the South, we won't get ginger to grow to the full maturity. I believe it's 9 to 12 months or something like that. I cannot remember. But at least 9 to 10 months to reach maturity. Unfortunately, in our environment here, we can only grow to about 3 to 4 months. If we're lucky, maybe 5 months. But you can harvest ginger, you know, when it's at least 3 months old. All right, I think we are at number 6. So number 6. It doesn't have to do with gardening, but it kind of does, because if you don't have it, or you don't have the health of it, it's hard to garden. And that has to do with my back issues, I guess. So I learned that when you have back problems, walking is very therapeutic and it nourishes your back, the spine. So if you're able to walk, I know that other people have it worse than me, where they're not able to walk, where it hurts to walk. But if you can get to a point in your healing journey, if you can get to a point where you can actually walk, walking would be very good for you. It helps your back. I was watching this video where the doctors said that it feeds, nourishes your spine. I don't know how that all works, but that made sense. And being stagnant, being stationary is the worst thing for your back. That's why when you're sitting for a while, your back becomes stiff and you have to stretch and all that. So walking, from what I can tell, is just that that doctor was able to piece together what what I noticed, but really didn't know why, or the chemistry behind it, or the science behind it. The other thing is, to go along with this, is that certain exercises are not for everybody. One exercise could help somebody with a lower back, but the same exercise might not be good for somebody else. So I guess it depends on what kind of back issue that you have, and you'll just have to monitor for yourself. So if you notice that doing a certain motion hurts your back more, then that might not be the right exercise for you. I know that sometimes, our back is weaker and we might not be able to do that exercise. But when we get to a point where we can do that exercise and it is making us not feel good or makes it hurt more, then you know that that might not be a good one to do. And that brought it home for me, because there were certain exercises that I would do. I like this way better. There would be certain exercises that I would do, and I felt that they were not helping me. In fact, they were hurting me more. So now I'm learning to be more observant of what works and what doesn't work. And I also realize that lying on my stomach, not literally on my stomach, but laying in that position. If I'm in pain for a long bit, just laying in that position with my back stretched a little bit up for at least 20 minutes or so, my back would feel so much better. My back has gotten so bad to a point where if I'm doing a lot of bending, I would feel it in my feet. That hurtfulness, I don't know if it's numbness, but it's more of like a numbing pain. So that's when I know that I've done too much. It wasn't like that before. It was, the pain would be higher up, and now it's gone down to my feet. So I know that it has progressively gone downhill from there. That is all that I have today for you. I know that if you stayed on this long, I know that you must be one of my subscribers, or you are new and you just happen to watch until the end. Either way, I'm so appreciative. So with that, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and hopefully found some of the information helpful. Until the next video, I hope you take care. Bye for now.